All right, well, let's get started. You think there will be anybody out here tonight? We'll have to see.
Give it a shot.
All right, a little past 8 o'clock here, Pacific Daylight Time on the West Coast. Central California, 27085 is our frequency where we are transmitting, channel 11. The Old Tube Radio Network here for 35 years or so with your glow-in-the-dark radio check-ins, the shortwave listeners, and everybody else tuning in at oldtuberadio.net and the YouTube video. We'll run along here and see what is actually broken and not working, and hopefully the things that are supposed to be working will be. Starting off with the roll call of the shortwave listeners, SWL00, and that is now Mr. JT, who I think is out there from his appearance at the Old Tube Radio Night. Actually, it says the Old Radio Night. You can have tubes or not. And we'll get to Mr. JT checked in. And then we've got SWL number 1, who always manages to get a check-in somehow. If you're playing the home game, make sure you're looking at the list for the 21st of March, 2020. Mr. OBP, SWL number 2, who is staying safe and sound in the Radio Shack tonight. Hello, Kevin. And I hope YCU is feeling better. Looks like I've lost my S meter. That's what happens when you don't touch anything. SWL number 3. I did not see Rob today, or this week, because there we go. There is no bowling. The bowling alleys are closed, which makes sense. But I bet he's out there. SWL number 4. SWL 5. I bet everyone is probably watching movies tonight and gathering around whatever they could buy in the stores, whether it was popcorn or chips or batteries or I don't know. What's on the shelves these days? Who knows? SWL number 6. SWL 7.
SWL 7 checking in.
All right, sounding good. Sounding good on the radio tonight, and we have you checked in over.
And thank you very much.
And just a reminder, we are on the direct-to-net roll call. We will have the glow-in-the-dark radios check-in coming up after the roll call in about 35 minutes or so, taking us over to SWL 13. SWL 14. I will refresh my comments. Yes, indeed, it is. You are able to check in at oldtuberadio.net if you can't get on the two-way radio here in Central California, or I can't hear you. I will certainly be listening in. And we do have JT. So I see your items now. Requesting a check-in from the Wasama. And it's you say tomato, I say tomato. The Wasama, Wasumi, the Swamp, South Carolina. Ground rod with the N95 respirator mask, ready to fight those evil viruses. Got you checked in tonight, and good show. It was busy. You guys were busy out there tonight on Channel 12. For Old Radio Night. Over to SWL 15. SWL 16. SWL 17. Shortwave listener 18. SWL 19. SWL 20. And I don't remember, I think that Harvey said he would be around tonight, so I'll be listening for him. SWL 21 checked in as 00 and yet again as 21 on the 2-for-1 option here. SWL 22. That is Mark out of Texas. I see a Texas station running somewhere. So let me see. Who is out tonight? Up on the balcony. Hello to British Columbia. Albert and all the gang signing in from Squamish. Hello to California, Canby, Oregon. I believe that is Bill coming up. Got Virginia, Texas. Out in the UK, Dallas, Georgia, Las Vegas. I think that's Robert. Hope you are feeling better. Sounds like you are on the mend and back in the Radio Shack, and that is a good thing. Down in Oceanside, hope you are ready to listen for and maybe hear some of your classic favorite tube radios. Colorado Station in Woodland Park, waiting for the skip to come in. There comes my audio back. Well, let's see. We can't even get through the first 10 minutes without everything breaking. Hello to North Carolina, Kakalaki coming up to you. New York, who has been in listening to all the testing and shenanigans going on since before the net. San Francisco, X4000, and maybe Timtron West here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Next, we have SWL 22, and I guess I should look over on the video side and see who is coming up. SWL 23, Mitch writing in from Aptos, where, I don't know, we got rain off and on for the last 2 days. I imagine that's the same thing happening there. But that's kind of okay weather out there. The 23 Skidoo listening and holding net control to a higher standard than ever before. Over to SWL 24. SWL. I want to remind you that the Old Tube Radio Network is not off limits. This is a safe distance tonight, so don't feel bad. No gloves or masks necessary while checking into the net. SWL 25.
Hello, Dennis. 25, checking in.
All right, checking in and checked in. You are sounding good. Hope all is well there and not too much calamity.
Oh, no calamity. We're hunkered in, been hunkered in all week, and just having a good old time, and plenty of supplies and food so far, and having fun. And anyway, you kind of made me chuckle when you said something earlier, and I totally lost it. So I'll just shut up and get back to you, Dennis.
All right, well, this is the totally lose it frequency, so stay tuned, and there will be many opportunities. You are sounding good.
Thanks, Dennis.
Next, we go to SWL 27, who checked in moments ago on the crossband that was sort of kind of working. I'm not sure about it now anymore, but Dwayne is in from the scratchy, checking in from the scratchy talkie. Over to SWL 28. SWL 29, I have a note to check in Mr. Loner, which I will. SWL 30. SWL 31, that would be Robert and Teresa from Hendersonville. I did not see them earlier. Let me take a look, and there they are. They're shining. They're shining the little flashlight. It is so far away when they're up in the balcony to get my attention. I see up there. You are looking good. I hope there is not too much craziness out where you are. If there is, you have found a way to figure it out. I know you will. Thanks for checking in tonight. SWL 32. SWL 33, myself. Yeah, the honking proboscis, bozo control, the jingle singers who are ready to go, but there is, as usual, some type of strange technical difficulties which didn't exist an hour ago. So we'll see what happens. Otherwise, they're just going to have a big party out there. They're going to watch the fish and have fun and do whatever it is they do. But I'm hoping I'll get the link up where it's supposed to be. SWL 34. SWL 35, Mr. Bill, checking in from Cheyenne, Wyoming, just moments ago. Hope all is well out there. Not too much craziness, Bill. You are looking good on the chart. How about SWL 36? SWL 37?
37 here. Good evening, Dennis.
And good evening, Chris. Thanks for beaconing into the old Tube Radio Network tonight.
You betcha.
And we have SWL 38. SWL 39. 39 is checking in from out in the hay stacks or the hay field. Where are you, sir?
Well, I'm trying to get as close as I can to one of my four desks. I have files to get started. That's why I have to get on the radio.
All right, well, you were there. Your signal is good. Your audio is a bit low. So check your coiled cord microphoniums, your batteries, and all that good stuff. But I do hear you, and it is good to have you checking in on the old Tube Radio Network.
Yeah, okay, good evening, welcome.
Dr. Dan, out there somewhere past the haystacks in Central California. Let's try SWL 40.
SWL 40 checking in from Chinatown.
Hey, it sounded good. Remember all that pre-prep I did? Well, as usual, it didn't work. But I hear you just fine. I think it's the... You know what it is? I think it's the tubes. The tubes warming up here. Sometimes they just take a little bit longer than I would like. Let's try SWL 41. And that is Road Dog 507. Don't see him on the video side just yet. That seems to be working. SWL 42. SWL 43. SWL 44 is around. I did see Mr. Delta X-ray beaconing in on the video side. Let's see. Are you radioactive? Hello, 44. Yeah, okay. It's beaconing down into midtown Fresno tonight. Over. All right. Thank you. 360 up in the 360 area. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the audio tonight. I don't have to do the 6 feet of separation on the microphone, but maybe I can set up the Orban so that it will sound good. Let's try up to North Fork, SWL 45.
45, Dennis. Hope you can hear me down there.
Yeah, well, I've got my usual wackiness going on there, Ray. Hello, Paul. I can hear you. If you can hear me, over.
I hear you just fine. I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, and I've got you checked in, over.
Thanks, Dennis.
Paul is in, SWL 46. SWL 47.
Break OTR.
The break OTR, go ahead, over.
Good. There's my confirmation that everything is working well. Greetings from the Radio Lounge, where the aroma of barbecued sweet potato and sautéed mushrooms is only being eclipsed by the delectable smell of vacuum tube radios. Rather warm, I might add. Good evening to you, sir.
And likewise, it's a good time to do barbecue. I'm glad you actually have something there to barbecue. It can be a little bit difficult these days, so enjoy the program as we might try to find some barbecuing tube radios coming up.
You know, sir, you hit the nail right on the head, as always. Yeah, it was nice to actually find some steaks to throw in there as well, which will be going on in a moment. Yeah, interesting grocery stores these days. That'll be a topic for perhaps later.
All right. Indeed. Good to hear you on. And we'll check in with you a little bit later here on the Old Tube Radio Network, where we will be chatting with and talking about the classic tube radios from 1958 to 1978, as most of you know. You might have some. There might be some warming up. Those of you who are not in our RF zone area, you've probably been on the radio this week, perhaps a little more time maybe to get into the Radio Shack. So hopefully you have fired up your favorite radios tonight. SWL 48.
SWL 48 checking in, Dennis.
Hey, you are sounding good live and direct here and beaconing worldwide on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks for checking, Dennis. Have a good evening.
Okay, Mr. KP. Doing a real good job in here tonight. Let's head over, let's see, I think south and east of me to SWL 49. And then north and east of me to SWL 50.
And good evening, one and all. 50 checking in.
Sounding good from the secret radio location. Thanks, Mark. SWL 51.
51 checking in.
51. Near Sangertown, doing a good job here into Midtown. Thanks, Dave. And from behind the golden microphone, or I think it is now from behind the golden mouse, as I do believe I saw Mr. USY 52 checking in on the video side. I don't have any 3D things to do here. For those watching for those watching on the big screens, thanks, Aaron, for checking in. I sort of have the crossband on, but I think everything just blew up on that side of the audio board, so I'm not sure if I would hear you or not. SWL 53.
Hello, Dennis. 53 checking in.
And you've got it cranked up tonight, Bob. Sounding good, and I've got you checked in, over. All right, let me see what else is going on here tonight. Out in West Fresno. Yeah, too far away to hit the HD. I do have an outdoor external antenna. It's not very high up, but I would probably need a little bit more altitude, or you might need a little bit more punch into the HT to get into the crossband tonight, albeit if it was working. And Inky Dog, it says, darn if you're not wearing the jacket I had on for my senior photos back in 1969. Yeah, this is the seersucker suit, and I do not know the when this is around. I'm going to say it was probably, it's got the kind of padded shoulders, so it's definitely a 60s thing. I don't think it's a 50s thing, but it's definitely, and I've got the microphone in the way there. I even got the tie, and I have the official... there it is, the official OTR net control shirt that is part of the outfit. here tonight. You know, it's hard to straighten your tie when you're looking at everything in reverse. So, and the rumor has it, this is not Motor Mouth Small's suit. His is actually probably a little bit better. His has 4 buttons on the collar, on the sleeve there. Who else we've got? Brown Dog Audio, sounding good. Hello, Paul. And Richard giving OTR big thumbs up. Thanks. I hope I can keep us in the thumbs up category tonight. I think our tube radio's checking in. We'll do that. Let's start page 3 and get SWL 54. Larry checked in. Up to SWL 55. And Mitch is social distancing 6 feet away from the television. I'm about, well, I don't know. We'll keep everything on the up and up. And we will take no prisoners. SWL 56.
Good evening, Dennis. 56, sheltered in place, old fig garden, where the world is not coming to an end.
Yeah, things may be a little bit slower. I noticed there was less noise emanating from the freeway today. But people are still out and about and seem to be having a good time, which is what we are going to try to do here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks, Phil. And then over to SWL 57, Brown Dog Audio, who is waving a hand from the video side of things. Thanks for tuning in from somewhere in central Kentucky and representing our worldwide sidebanders tonight, 1942. Thank you. SWL 58.
58, check it in. Hope everybody's having a great evening, all things considered. And thank you for doing the net, Dennis.
All right, thanks for checking, Jeremy. Sounding good. Nice signal and good audio into the receiver. I do have the S meter up, so you can watch the video back and give yourself a radio report. Thanks for checking in.
Great, thank you, Dennis.
SWL 59. SWL 60.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you. You're a real trooper. I knew you'd be out here this Saturday with everything that's going on. You give us something to do there for sure. SWL 60, checking in Big Jake's base, the DX2527.
It is sounding good as always. The 291 and 60 at the respective microphoniums. Thanks for checking in. Yeah, this is a lot more fun than standing in line, waiting for something. So thanks for checking in. SWL 61.
You want to check it in, Dennis?
Wow, you are loud tonight. SWL 61 on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks, Dean.
Hey, Dennis.
He's got the fire to the wire. How about SWL 62?
Good time, Dennis. This is XQ, checking in from downtown Clovis. How are we doing tonight?
You are doing great. How are you feeling? Everything going good out there?
So far, everything's going real good. We're kind of staying inside, like they ordered me to. You know how that goes.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing to do. Not a bad thing to do. SWL 62. Rex Lindy, one of our senior members who has been checking in for, I would say, listening in at least for most of the 35 or so years that we have been doing this. And you sound every bit of a 62, and I know you're more than that, so stay safe.
Thank you, Jim. We'll talk to you later.
All right, 62 is in from beautiful downtown Clovis. SWL 63, and I did see Bubba and the New York crew representing all the big iron from the East Coast. Let's try SWL 64. SWL 65.
SWL 65, checking in.
SWL 65. Hello, Eric. We got you checked in. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
And just scrolled up. Toby's listening in. Midwest Sound. Hope everything is okay up there where you are. I want to say you're in Kansas. I think that's where you're at. Thanks for joining the Old Tube Radio gang tonight. Over to SWL 66. SWL 67, checking in Bill, who is listening in up in the balcony, it looks like tonight, from or near Canby, Oregon, where everything is always nice and pleasant. Let's try SWL 68. SWL 69.
Dennis, you didn't have anything there as far as Ken checking in on computer or something?
Yeah, he checked in. He probably took a look at last week's video and checked in on the comment section. So I assume that he will do the same this week. So I will pause. Anybody want to say hi to Kenny69? He's going to be listening in at some point. Hello, Kenny. Who's next?
Hello, Kenny.
All right, and I'm sure he will wave a hand on the video side on the YouTube comments. Stay safe, Kenny. We miss you out here, but glad we have this forum to give you a shout. Now, and then let's try SWL 70. Yeah, I can copy. You are somewhere way down in the canyon tonight.
Yeah, I'm out here in the backyard with a first mile we're talking about the local 100
Okay, you are right in the noise level for the signal, but your audio is making it through. So a portable SWL 70 portable 6 is sounding good. Over. All right, then now there's a real trooper out on the portable. Reminds me of a 47. Do the same thing with the walkie-talkie. Let's go up to SWL 71. Stan, I do believe I saw Mr. Announcer on my screen moments ago checking in. The SHW from Foreland. Thank you, Stan. Next, we've got SWL 72. SWL 73. SWL 74.
Yeah, Dennis, a message, a relay from SWL 74 would like to check in her 50,000 watt antenna in any way. Back to you, Dennis.
Back to me in the studio. Well, got it checked in. I know she is probably, because the antenna and the tower and the transmitter there are so large, it takes a long time with the disinfectant wipes to get everything perfect for check-in. So I understand if it's not quite ready and you want to stay safe and prepared. So we've got her checked in.
Thanks, Dennis. Actually, I think it has more to do with the ambient and temperature in the backyard. I would think that she would probably check in more often when it's warmer out here. Anyway, back to you, Dennis. Thank you.
Indeed. I bet we will get probably a lot more check-ins when the weather gets a little bit better. Although it's nice. It is nice to have the rain and snow that we certainly need, so we won't complain too much. Thanks for checking in. Over to SWL 75. SWL 77. SWL 78, Richard up in Everett, Washington. Let me check the board here. Are you there, Richard? I know there's some Washington stations listening in. I will look to see if I can't find you on my big list of stuff. going on here and get you checked in at the appropriate time. Over to SWL 79.
79, checking in.
79 is checking in. Sounded good. Audio is nice tonight. Thanks, Philip. And SWL 80. And that is in the picture up, if you're at old2radio.net or watching the video, that is the infamous Drake SP. Is it R or X? The Drake receiver. And who is listening in? Somebody's listening in on the Drake receiver tonight. Who is that? Well, I can't. Brown Dog Audio is on the SPR4 communications receiver, monitoring the apocalypse and everything else. Isn't that beautiful? You know who collects Drakes here locally is Jerry, I do believe. Swans and Drakes, things like that. Now that's a classic for the old tube radio. I may just leave it up there for a little bit. But I won't have the checking in things, but there you go. If you're going to be an SWL, you need to do it in style. Let's go over to page 4, and we are looking for SWL 81. SWL 82.
82 checking in from the ditch banks of Biola. And I'd like to say to all you toilet paper hoarders from Fresno, in the big city, we got pickled grape leaves. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. Thanks, Dennis.
That's the way it is done on the hills of Biola, a long-time tradition, a time-tried tradition. And it is certainly trying the time right now. Thanks, Ron. Over to SWL 84.
84. Good evening, Dennis. And I don't know if you can hear me on this radio, but we thought we would give it a shot there. Over.
I hear you just fine. Audio's good. The signal is good. The antenna's working. And I don't know what kind of old tube receivers you have going tonight, but the transmitter is doing A-OK. Over.
Good deal. I was kind of hoping that the mic gain wasn't up too high there. But we're not running the Drakes, any of them right now, but we do use the TR4CW Drake on Wednesday nights there. So getting part of them warmed up after a long hiatus. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, thanks. Sounding good. Gotta love the classic radios. And Steve Areno, I apologize. I went right past you, and there you are waving a hand over on the video side. So let me put the 81 check-in up, Mr. Unicorn. Thanks for listening in tonight. Jerry is in. Let's try Reedley. I heard Reedley earlier, but he wasn't hearing me. How about SWL 85?
85, Reedley, California, Dennis.
Yeah, sounds good. Talked to Bob just a little bit, but he was having a lot of static. You are sounding perfect. 100% copy. Over. All right, thanks for beaconing into the old tube radio network. Also getting check-ins for SWL 86, 87, and 88. Looking for SWL 89. SWL 90. SWL 92. SWL 93. Sandbagger 1 is checking in. Hello, Louie. Hope you're staying safe.
Oh, I am. I'm just sitting here and watching old TV and listening to the old radio. All right, I'll let you get back to what you're doing. We'll be glad.
All right, thank you for checking in. Let's try SWL 98.
Checking in, Dennis.
Fresno Dave, waving a hand to all the tube radio operators and SWLs. Thanks for checking in. 98. Let's try SWL 103. I've got Jeff checked in from Facebook, where he checked in. SWL 109. SWL 110. I have a Note 2 proxy, Mr. 110 5150 out of Millerton, which I will do. SWL 111 checked in earlier, and yes, I did hear him. SWL 113. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
114. Hello, Wayne. You are sounding good, and we've got you checked in. Over.
Thank you for the check-in.
And Mitch, 23, saying that Charlie Alpha Tango doesn't understand at all the fuss lately about social distancing. Yeah, I'm a cat. It's what we do. What he likes to do, he does the ignoring thing, you know, where he turns around and doesn't face you, but stands or sits right in the middle of wherever you need to be, especially if it's in the kitchen, if it has anything to do with food. Doesn't really look at you, but it sets in the way. I think he is out over in the chair somewhere, looking out the front window, going, ha ha. I'm in and you're not. Okay, is the audio failing me? Let's see. No, the Orban says we're kind of okay. I'm going to try the Jingle Singers right in the middle of the roll call here. Let's see if that's actually happening. Oh, that sounds horrible, don't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from
We are YouTube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
Well, that's just awful. So much for pre-prep. I will have to see why that is. Oh, you know what? Let me check something here. Let me see what's going on. The Bob and Steve show. Sent some things in for the Jingle Singers. I wish they would send it to me. The Jingle Singers are out there having a good time, and I can't get their signals in. Well, what do we got? We've got, for the fish tank, Red Skull House, a big church, and a big house. All right. Should be good in the fish tank. I can't really see it. I can't really see the fish tank through all the stuff here. What else? Bob put a tower and a star duster on the house with a sign on it. You know, I'm running a star duster. That is what I'm running. An old original, the plastic is broken. The little downside radials are flopping around star duster, an M400. And I've got one of the knockoffs too. So I hope that worked for you, Bob. You know who likes that was it W8JI? One of the guys thinks that's the best antenna you can get, just a plain old star duster with no frills. Let's see, got a sign. OTR got a doormat with my call letters on it. Got a doormat with my call letters. I should hand those out. Wouldn't that be great for a QSL? And my audio is failing. There we go. My audio is going away. Oh, man. All right. And what else do we got? The Jingle Singer's got a new fish and named it Humpty Dumpty. He's gold. And they are in the green room for a 2-week lockdown. That's why nothing is working. You know, I really need to laugh here. Thanks, guys. All right. 114 is checked in. I'm taking an old buzzer transmission. SWL 128. I know I saw you, John Lee, so let me refresh the page and I'll be right back.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR, go ahead, please.
Check in for 55, please, Dennis.
Yeah, let me do that. I did not hear Eminem when we went down that side of the page, so I will get the Shaver station checked in. Thanks. And I am looking for 128. There you are. You're hidden on my list here, John. I will get you checked in. Let me click the button, and then it says that, it says you're checked in over there. Next, we go up to SWL 131. And I guess I should give 55 an official checkity check in there. Over to SWL 133. SWL 135. proxy check-in for Cliff, SWL 137. SWL 145.
Hello, Dennis, and all the other patient people. This is Tony 145 checking in.
That's right, page 4, the patient people. You sure sound good on 11 on the 11 meter side. Whatever you've got set up for this, don't touch it. Over.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Dennis. Yeah, I got to read my manual tomorrow, figure out what's going on with my radio for Wednesday nights. Hopefully I can get it figured out before this Wednesday, Roger.
Yeah, read the manual if you have one. If you have to download it or they actually print it out for you. I'm trying to think if I heard you Wednesday. I was listening in. I do not recall, but I'm hearing you now, and I've got you checked in. Over.
Yeah, no, I can totally receive fine on Wednesdays. I just can't transmit right now for some reason.
All right, we'll keep trying, and we've got some really good net controllers with some great receivers, so they will be able to pick you up no problem.
All right, thank you, Dennis. Everybody be safe out there.
Indeed, thanks for checking in. Over to Kakalaki, SWL 147, checking in moments ago. All is well, and they're free to be for the time being. Weather is spring-like, and radios are quiet. We're probably sending you some stormy stuff, because that's what's going on right here on the West Coast. And he says to stay safe and well. And I agree with that for sure here on the Old Tube Radio Network. I want to say hello to KZS 4940. You know who you are in the house. Where's my control for Johnny Defiant? And you only hear that special effect on the audio stream. Those listening at 27085 and say, what is he doing? Well, watch the tape replay. Let's go up to Course Gold, SWL 195.
195,
Checking in and sounding good. Doing it. Thanks, Jim. We got you in on the Old Tube Radio Network. And then over to SWL 226. And perhaps anyone that I missed that would like to check in now while I am listening. Over. And we're going to go to the Tube Radio site. Let me try. I know this is going to be an exercise in futility as I look at all the various connectors and things. Let's try the Jingle Singers here one more time and find out why we have distortion.
Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR.
All right. It appears to be after that input. Well, that's the Behringer audio board for you. It's German technology made in China. We will be right back with your Tube radios and all the things that are the Old Tube Radio Network in just a moment. All right, we are back. I would try the Jingle Singers, but I think I will wait. I will wait to find out what is going on. Oh, you know what? One more thing. I will try the Jingle Singers, the old Tube Radio Network here. We are looking for radios. I want to say, SWL13. Hello, Michael. Let me do a little check-in things here. 13, Mr. Cobra is checking in. Who else is around? You can check in any time. Like we always say, you don't have... This is not a club. There are no secret handshakes. There are no dues. We welcome anybody. You don't even have to have a tube radio to play along. So let's try this again. And then...
How do you do? Ladies, gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you
All
are.
right.
For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR. Old Tube Radio.
the station for you is
OTR.
What it is these wires and everything is so old that the audio, it's like an old car going up a hill. Like an old Buick. It gets to the certain point in the wires, and it just needs a push. So I have to get that 20 dB of boost down the system, and then it just seems to unclog. And it's like Audio Drano or something. I have no idea. The Old Tube Radio Network is listening for radio number 1.
45.
Hey, Paul, let's go. I'm not going to wait. I'm going to get this thing going here before something else breaks. SWL 45, Paul, jump into the air chair and let's talk about what it is that you have brung to share with class today.
Okay, listen out, get out right open. This is my center radio telephone, BB-30.
A good choice. There were some people showing that off and talking about what a rare radio that is and what a good find that is on some of the other venues around here. So I will grab, I know we have a shot of the BB-30. I will grab a picture of that. There we go. And get it up here while we go back to you for a transmission. Over.
Yeah, that's it. That's a clean little radio. Not a whole lot to it. There's no hardly any switches on the front or anything. It's a businessman radio, that's the reason. It's got places for 2 channels on the thing. And it's got a bullhorn on the thing. And a radio, which of course our radio right now, that has a squelch. And then a volume off and on. And that's it in the front, as you can see. Very plain, very clean, very nice looking. I like it. It puts out fairly good wattage. Enough to get down to there anyway. Back to you.
Yeah, no doubt, sort of their modified version or their legitimately modified version of like the MC8 or something with the plug in it. I'm looking to see if I've got a date. No, that's probably before the MC8. In 1965, General Radio Telephone BB-30, 9-tube, 25-watt RF output business band radio. 2 channels. The earlier BB-30 only had 1 channel. It was designed for the business channel of 27420. I need to research that. 27420, which would be, somewhere around channel 27, but not exactly. The picture does not show the channel A and channel B on the rocker switch, which is just right of the volume control. It also has the famous ECLL 800. I think that's how they do that. How they get that extra kick out of there. Used a ceramic microphone built by Turner. Are you using the ceramic microphone built by Turner? Over?
That's correct. M+2 Turner. It's an amplified mic.
All right, so the inquiring minds want to know, do you have the 1-channel or the 2-channel version? And I'm assuming that you went inside or somebody went inside and stuck in a crystal for channel 11 or perhaps 2 crystals, one for transmit and receive, Otherwise, we would have to be going up to 27,420 to hear you. Over.
I'm losing that all. I got a sticking noise level was terrible. It's got a whistling noise and the thing is driving me nuts. Come back on that, get paid, Dennis.
Well, I'm assuming you have, obviously, channel 11. Do you have another channel installed in that perhaps two-channel BB30? Over?
That is correct. It's a two-channel radio. That's, if you look off, we can't see it. That is show. This has been washed off probably. Somebody cleaned it up too well. But it's just one of the left-hand side back for the, well, to the right-hand side of the microphone. Look at that is rated here. That's the bullhorn and the radio. Then you go to the left of where you hook in your microphone, right below the meter up there, kind of like. That is a switch for the two-channel crystal right there.
All right, yeah, it doesn't have any markings on it. But it is there. Nice, crisp audio. Signal is not bad, but the audio is just sharp and clear. And again, you are not that close to my location here. He's up in the foothills about 35, 40 miles away. So the general radio telephone beaconing, a nice, clean-looking radio from 1965. I'm FCC accepted for your business band pleasure, and obviously it wasn't too hard to go in there and put in a channel of your choice for the Class D 11-meter style service. Glad you brought that one by. I hope there are some people listening or maybe watching this video that want to know more about that radio and hear how it sounds and what it can do. How is the receive? Over?
Yeah, I've got a BB10 too. It's not functioning right now. It was. I don't know what happened to it. Haven't got a chance to check it. I sure have enough time now to do it. Say that for sure. Sitting in a house like this. But anyway, this baby here has the ECL 800 tube in it. I thought I'd tell you that. That kind of helps it out. That gives it what it got. It doesn't go do a whole lot, but it does enough to satisfy me. I'll tell you, get you down the hill, like I said. Anyway, back to you.
Back to me in the studio. 9 tubes, the ECLL 800, of course, 6AL11. It's got a 12A7 probably for the audio and a whole bunch of other 6-volt tubes. Will run 12-volt DC or 115-volt AC if you've got the right cord. It is our radio number 1. We'll log that in at 848, known as the General Radio Telephone BB30. Give us another transmission, and thanks for bringing it by, Paul.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it. I tell you what, I had my Demco all set up to go, and guess what? I wouldn't get receiver out on it, so I'm kind of grabbing the radios here, so this is like I plan to take a different anyway. That Demco's so big, it takes up so much room, so I got a stack on top of it. I'll get back to all those things later on. Thanks, Dennis.
All right, thanks. I like the crisp audio on that. Nice. Has the punch as you would notice on something like a Regency Imperial. Looking good. The Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for getting us started off, Paul. Want to say hello to William, Bill out there. Saying, do we need to send you some bucks to replace all that old equipment and wiring? The old equipment is okay. The analog audio equipment is good. This thing right here came out of a TV station. This was the cat's meow back in 1982, and now it's delegated to the Old Tube Radio Network. I guess what I need to do someday is rewire, reconnect, make some new wiring for everything, get into the workshop, and do that. Also, Mitch noticing or saying that Stardusters are great for getting signal out of a hole due to the higher angle of radiation. If terrain is fine, that's one reason I have. Well, one, because the IMAX 2000 broke in half with the fiberglass thing, and I had the Starduster, and my antenna is low. It does have good, and when I re-roofed with whatever that liquid ceramic, whatever they rolled over the roof, it seemed to create a better ground plane, believe it or not. So, but when I get towers and things up, I will get some altitude, and the nice thing is you'll be able to hear all the incoming stations much better. Whether they will hear me I don't know. Big Rich is saying, could I create a midweek show? I think I only have this jacket rented for Saturday evenings. So if I had to rent it for a midweek another net, it would probably break the bank. So right now, we're only going to do Saturdays. Although for those of us who remember, we did do a Friday night sideband net that was hosted by a lot of people, but mainly Mr. OBP, SWL2. When we got on sideband, and let's see. Let me stop talking and say we are looking for Radio 2. 25 jumping. I saw you over safe distancing, social distancing in the green room. Jump into the air chair here, and we will get you in before the top of the hour. And I think I've got the Jingle singers all, the system up and running. We'll do them after your check-in. Over.
Very good, Dennis. Yeah, they were totally on the other side of the room, and it's like somebody had only girls have it though. Cooties. Women only have cooties, but anyway, never mind about that. This 25 checking in on the Golden Brown Eagle Mark III SSB.
You know, you just brought some. How did we survive cooties back in the second and third grade? What did we do? I think we have to go back and take a look at how we address that situation, and maybe we can expedite what is going on right now. There is the Golden Eagle Mark III SSB picture courtesy of SWL 135, but he's got a really good photo, so we'll put that one up. I don't know if yours are stacked vertically or horizontally. I'm trying to remember. I think you have them stacked horizontally, and you had enough room on the radio shelf there. Take another transmission.
Yeah, okay, Dennis. Yeah, I got them stacked on top. Normally, back in the day, I had them spread apart, but I just don't have the room. So they're stacked on top of each other. Two-piece radio, transmitter, and of course the receive with the red glowing light on the ear light, and talking on the non-powered D104. And I'm not practicing my 6-foot social spacing to the microphone. I'm about 1 foot away from it. So, but if this is about 2 feet away from it. But you know what? If the guys don't have cooties, but anyway, there's no cooties on it. Well, maybe from when my wife checked in on this a long time ago, but I doubt it. I think the cooties put away. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Well, it sounds good. I think I'm out of whatever spray you would need for cooties. There was actually I want to say a toy. It was like you put it together, not like a Lego thing, like a Mr. Potato Head or something. I think it was called. It was called a cootie. I will find a picture of that, and we'll put that up. But in the meantime, it is sounding good for Radio 2. The audio is nice, and I thank you for taking time to insert another radio on our list here on the Gulf Tube Radio Network.
Not a problem, Dennis. And by golly, you know, at times like this, we have to keep our sense of humor and have fun. Anyway, and thank you. Speaking of fun, you used to say, I believe you said, put the FU back in fun. Something like that. Anyway, Dennis, thanks for hosting this net for over 30 years and doing what you're doing, and greatly appreciated. Back to you, Dennis.
All right, and I would say thanks for all the stations taking time out of their Saturday evenings for the last 35 years. And, of course, there have been many net controls, including myself. I remember back in the day when I was working the wacko evening shift at the television station, and either when Jim or Kevin or Rob or Ed or Fred and you can keep naming on who, Les and Dee and Curly and Ida, Mama Rose doing the net controls. I would crawl up through, I'd get a break in between one of our shows and crawl up the ladder that went to the roof, a couple stories, and go out the hatch and bring my walkie-talkie and pull up the antenna and go to channel 11 and break in and get checked in on the old tube radio network. So I know how it is when people are doing crazy things to get checked in. Radio 2, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SFB, the Jingle Singers are ready. There is the Cootie. That is not the one I remember. That's probably like a 1999 version. That is not the 1965 version that I remember, but I remember it was some type of a put-together thing or something. Thank you. Unless you got something else, thanks, Jerry, for checking in.
No, I'm up here to warm up something else, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, fun listening to everybody else checking their radios, too. Anyway, thanks, Dennis.
Indeed. Let me go over. We have a check-in. SWL 24. That is Joseph. I see you on the big board. And we have got you checked in. Also, I wanted to try the Jingle Singers at the top of the hour. We've got the orchestra, Mr. Announcer, X4000 is ready to go. Let's see if we can do this.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by OTR. Brought to you by 27.085 megahertz. Brought to you by RADI. The Old Tube Radio Network.
RADIO as in Old Tube Radio. Hello to those who may be listening and watching from antique CB radio pre-1977 at CB Radio Lounge, the CB Radio Connection, high fidelity CB radio, 11-meter CB junkies, vintage CB radio, fans of the Demco and related equipment. Where are our Demco radios? We need a few of those to check in. Vintage tube CB radios, the worldwide sidebanders, and, of course, Rich Anderson and all the gang over at CB Radio News. The Old Tube Radio Network is listening.
84.
All right, 2 stations. I heard 84. Go ahead and jump into the air chair, and I'll be right with you, Jerry. Who was the other station? All right, there was no audio. Give it another try on that station, over. All right, nothing heard. We're going to talk to Jerry. He'll be Radio 3. And if somebody's out there with a radio, keep tapping on the top and jostling the wire, and we will pick you up. In the meantime, let's go over to Jerry at 9:06 Pacific Daylight Time. Hello, radio.
Hello, Mr. Dennis. Well, it's been a long time since I've worn this rascal. Well, I'll tell you what, it's probably been a year and a half or 2 years. Don't know if this thing is even going to sound right there, Dennis, but I'm sure I need to get a mic check and all that good stuff. This is the Robin 123B, the T123B. What is this thing? It used to be 11 tube, 2 transistor, might even be a 10 tube transistor now, 2 transistor I should say. Don't even know how many tubes are even going to work in this thing. I might have to burn the dust off this thing in a few weeks.
Burning the dust off is good, and that is why the Old Tube Radio Network is here, to give those a forum once a year, once a month, once a week, to jump in the tube radio driver's seat and spin that thing around the block. So I'm glad that you are. I think it's old enough that you don't have to go in for a smog inspection. So if it's smoking a little bit, don't worry, you won't get cited. And we are glad that the Robin T123 is coming by the set, the show tonight, the net. There is the photo. Let me go to the bigger photo. And this is I believe they went to the Panasonic chassis here in 1972. I looked at the S-meter. Your audio seemed lower than I remember it, but it's clear and it's loud and it is moving the meter forward. So I'm thinking that it is probably okay and that you don't need to do anything. Take another transmission over.
Alrighty, I appreciate it, Dennis. It looks like, according to the watt meter there, I hooked up an old school PDC 600, and it looks like it's doing just right at 3 watts. And I modulate a little bit better than 4, so not very good. Not getting 100% modulation, but I need to go through it, retube things, and I know I definitely have to deoxidate a few switches and things. It's just been a while, but seems to be working. And I was just thinking right before we went to the old tube radio check-in, wasn't somebody saying that they could not transmit on Wednesday night that they could hear? They had to receive. Maybe that was that gentleman there.
Oh, well, someone mentioned on the video side that they were suggesting perhaps we could have a second, I guess, little radio check-in night or something. But actually, you bring up something that we do here have a sideband check-in net up on 10 meters for those that have an amateur radio license that can check in. Obviously, you can listen in with no problems, and that's on Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time on 28 445 upper sideband. And occasionally, when I'm here in the shack, I will stream the audio for that on this oldtuberadio.net. So mark that if you want to listen into the sideband. Amateur radio sideband net, although in a couple of years, I think our conditions will open up and you'll be able to check in or listen in yourself. Jerry, who is checking in now on the Robin T123B, is one of the net controllers for that. So you will hear familiar voices. We've got a couple of people to check in here that also net control for that. So listen in on Wednesday evenings, and I will try to remember to run the audio stream of that for all of those. There is the big picture of the Robin T123B. It is 11 tubes. And, it does have the range expand. Are you running, not that you need it, are you running with the range expand on or off? I'm not asking you to fiddle with it, because sometimes that is it'll do bad things, but it sounds good. Over.
Well, I appreciate it, Dennis. Yes, it is on range expand. And some of them say range boost and what have you there. When I got this radio, it would not switch to on and off. It was continually on, and I did not want to get in there and mess with things. So, I can always, if it's mic, power mic, amplified mic, and I'm just turn it down or whatever. And if I need to cut back the wattage, now these here, the 123B, you can adjust the plate and all that good stuff in the load from the outside. Now the 240Ds, you actually had to go inside. They didn't want you to fiddle with them, but it seemed to be working pretty good. The only thing is that the tubes are getting just a tad bit weak, and I have not changed anything. Right after I got it, I changed a couple of tubes there. I think one was a 12AX7A, and there was something else. That was a mic amp tube, and I had to add a crystal. Let's see, it was 8, 9, 10, 11, or 10, 11, and 12, or whatever it was there. And of course, the one crystal operates 4 channels, so I can't remember now which ones I replaced, but it needed a little bit of attention, so we got it working, and so far I am happy with it. So we shall see. Roger, Roger.
Sounds good. We are happy as well that you brought it by the Robin T123B. I would say you're not quite up to the 100% modulation, but it's nice and clear. Sometimes it's better to err on the lesser side if you've got a good signal like you do, rather than over-modulating it. the 11 tubes. I see that there's an operator's manual, which you obviously don't need because you're operating quite nicely, and a schematic, which could be helpful over at oldtuberadio.com. And that radio can go 12-volt DC for your mobile pleasure if you have the right cables. And like Mitch says, the ingredients for being heard never varies: elevation, radiation, and modulation. So you've got most of this. I guess the new antenna setup is you've got your elevation back, your radiation back, and just a little tweak on the modulation. I remember back at my other location long ago, 30 years ago, when I had the big stick up on top at about 70 feet of the tower, and I only needed about 2 watts when I was doing net control, and we were hearing the guys with the stations in Visalia, which is way the heck far away. And I know I could not do that with the Starduster at about 15 feet. Back to you for transmission. Thanks for being radio number 3.
Thank you, Dennis. Well, a couple of quick points here. I won't take up a lot of time there. I can still raise the tower up over here about another 17 feet, and not a full 20 because they're telescoped in about 3 feet. And also, this is the Antron. And not quite as long as the IMAX 2000. The IMAX 2000 was, what was that thing, 24 feet versus, 18 feet. So was that, you go up another 23 feet or something like that, higher. And I do know that my receiver's down because before my antenna took a dive there, I could hear, pretty much everybody on 10 meters there on the Wednesday night net. And now I'm really pushing it to hear a few stations. I'm not liking that. But anyway, one quick thing there. You were talking about, talking to Rex earlier, 62 downtown Clovis, and about 35 years and stuff. And I was trying to remember when I joined, but I remember I was listening, I think, unless I'm mistaken, Dennis, I was listening to old TR on Friday nights because I was a long-line truck driver, and I sure thought I would come into town. I was coming into town long distance, and I think way back then it was almost 11 o'clock, and everybody was still out there. And a gentleman by the name of Greg, Western man, he said, "Man, you ought to come in and check in." And I think you guys gave me 135 as far as the number, but that was a long time ago, and that was right there at, with you and Jim and Kevin, I believe, and a long time ago. I forgot that. I think I've had a couple of numbers, but forgot them. Anyway, have a good evening here, Dennis, and always doing a fine job. You can always tell the professional broadcasters versus the guys like myself. But anyway, I appreciate what you do, and that allows us to do and appreciate what we're doing. So we'll let you go.
Indeed. Yeah, Greg, Western man. He used to be, you just stay up late, because he would drive all over the place, and you'd hear him beaconing in from Reedley and Sanger, and he'd making deliveries. Sometimes we'd hear him, if I had the antenna up in Visalia, he'd pop in at 2 in the morning. And back in long ago, like 35 years ago, there was a lot of people. You don't realize how many people are not on the air anymore for various reasons. But I look back at some of the SWL lists, and I look at all the handles and names, and they would rotate through every 8 weeks, and I'm thinking, man, that just, you forget in all that time that before Facebook and BBSs and checking your email and dinking with your portable phone, that CB radio was kind of the thing to do when television got boring, and not so right now. So I always appreciate people taking time out. And then those of us who have the sickness, as I say, those of us who really have the sickness, you may go away for a week or a month or a couple years, but somehow you always come back. I always get a kick when some stations that haven't been out here for 10 or 12 years pull the CB out of the box and just happen to stumble on and say, wait a minute, am I in a time loop? Wasn't this the same thing we were doing 15 years ago? And I said, yeah, indeed it is, thanks to people like yourself. Radio number 3, the Robin T123B. Originally out of the box, brand new from 1972 to 1976, when things went 40 channels and they had to update the radio. Back to you for transmission. Thanks, Jerry.
No, thank you, Dennis. Appreciate the opportunity.
37.
And there is 37. Taking a break. It must be intermission time. Over.
I've just been sitting here lollygagging, listening and whatnot, but I did want to get in here and check in on this old radio here, this, not very big, but it's got a lot of audio.
It does have a lot of audio, and I think if it's the one that I'm guessing, you might put a certain company into the most heard radio manufacturer here at 918. Or not.
Yep. There we go. Yeah, I want to check in that little old man in the wheelchair. You know which one that is, right?
Yes, I do. In fact, speaking of which, let me go to the super close-up. For those watching the video, there was on the Super MC11 and maybe certain Super MC11As, the space between the S meter and the channel selector was just the bronze gold background. But on certain MC11As, Super MC11As, there was this insignia thing that it took us a while to figure out what that was. And it is actually a G, R, and a T, the General Radio Telephone logo. So for the longest time, we couldn't figure out what it was. And somebody came up with the idea that it looked like, those handicap placards, the wheelchair placards, like someone in a wheelchair with an IV. So that's where the old man in the wheelchair with the IV came up. Oh, back to you.
Anyway, I wanted to check in my General Radio telephone, the Super MC11A. 24 channel, it glows in the dark, and we are registered here with a non-amplified original stock microphone. Over.
Stock audio always sounds really good on the General Radio Telephone Super MC11A, thanks to, as we found out from the earlier check-in of the BB30, which in 1965, General Radio Telephone inserted the ECLL 800 tube, finding that it has good audio, or it can transmit good audio, and it also has a lot of power if you do it the right way. Of course, these, to get type accepted, were reined down to the 5-watt DC input, and then the FCC was happy. But sure sounds good. Over to you.
Yeah, excuse me, yawning. It still works, so that's the best part about it. Like I said, maybe push its way around there in the wheelchair with an IV, but hey, it's still working.
It is still working, and it is good for radio number 3 check-in. Give us another transmission, and hopefully they're not dimming the lights so you can get back to the movie.
Let me see. No, it's not dimming the lights. I'm checking on even the radio if it dimmed those, but it did dim those there. If anything, it just prompted, yeah, we're working.
All right, sounding good. Thank you for bringing by radio number 3. The Jingle Singers are getting ready to do their thing. And what do I want to do? Oh, I was going to make a comment about the Big Stick. I had Inky Dog saying he just took a big stick down that had high SWRs, had it up for 44 years. Mine is still out somewhere. I found it a while back, and as you probably have guessed, the fiberglass, it's the, make sure you have gloved hands. But someone said you can sand it down or do steel wool it down and then maybe coat it with some type of something, non-metallic something, and keep it going. So I have not tried. Even, I had, the coax connector is all nice and shiny still, so I haven't figured that out, if I could use that as a secondary. The reason I used the Big Stick is I had it up on my ham tower, and I wanted something that didn't have radials coming out or like the Stardust or the radials hang down. I wanted something at the top. And I figured all the beams and things that I had underneath it would act as a really nice ground plane, and it worked quite well. I didn't have anything to compare it to, so I can't say, but all I know is that I guess if you put, like Mitch said, if you put something at the right altitude, it's going to work well as long as you get a good match on it. Sanded it down and clear coated it, but still shot. All right, the corrosion or the bugs or something. So what is Mitch saying? Perfect. It started out as a fishing pole, so go catch something with it. I am going to, as my audio again starts going in the bad thing here, let's try the Jingle Singers here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. Your favorite slot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
We are listening for radio number 4.
Stainless steel whip on your 102-inch, that's what I had on mine. I had one that Kevin used there for a while for one of his antennas bad. He blew the tip of it up, so I threw a 102-inch stainless steel whip on it and it worked better.
Yeah, they don't take big power, but I mean, I never ran any big power, and I know, I think, speaking of Greg, Western Man, he used to say, was it a Francis or some type of a Francis whip or a fire stick in the top radiating portion and try it that way. So we'll see. We'll see if I've got the same issue that Inky Dog does, and then if so, it'll be out to Bass Lake for a little bit of fishing. Was there a breaking station? OTR is listening. Over.
45.
Hey, I think it's working. Paul, step up into the air chair. We'll talk with you. I think that was you earlier. And Jerry, 25, you will be radio number 5. Grab a seat, social distance correctly in the green room, and we will catch you in just a little bit. And hello, Paul, otherwise known as the Falcon on 11-meter radio.
Yeah, it's my turn?
It is your turn. Over.
Hey, I grabbed the one off the shelf. The mic I had for it wouldn't work, so I got another mic. This thing here, I don't really know what the name of this thing is, but it's made in Japan. It's got some numbers on it, and it seems to be swinging a meter, so I think we're in business. It may be too much. I have no control over this meter. Anyway, it's a Lafayette Comstat 35, red nose.
Oh, it sounds good, and it looks good on the meter. Like you said, a lot of forward movement. The audio is good. At 35, I'm familiar with the 25. Let me see if we have a picture of the 35. Yes, we do. We have 2 pictures. We have one that says the label. Citizen band model Comstat 35. Okay, so they do exist, and it looks like an S-meter adjust. And then, if we go to the other side of such things, indeed, there is an interesting red channel selector. I don't know if that's a standard thing. Who's got one? Who's got another one out there? Is that a standard thing on the 35, or is that, Bozo Control got in there with the applique? Back to you.
Comstat 35.
Yeah, the Lafayette Comstat 35, and you have the red nose channel selector?
Sir, red nose and all. This is a pretty red nose on this one. It's kind of an orangey red.
All right, well, I'm assuming that might be a standard thing, and someone else might be able to chime in and let me know if they've had a Comstat 35 before, and if they actually look like that. But hey, as long as we can hear it, it doesn't matter how it looks, right?
Okay. This one here has got the control on the range boost on the microphone. I'm not too sure what this mic is doing. I can't change the mic. It's set. So I'm going to kick it on just for fun and see if that made any difference. Back to you.
Yeah, I did. Take a longer transmission. There was some static, and I don't know if that's just from the switch not being happy, or if it was actual overmodulating thing. So take another transmission, and we'll check it out.
Hey, I bet you it's overmodulated. Let me back off. I'm just backing right here, move about a foot back. So it looks like it's swinging about pretty good now, okay?
No, that's good. That's a good combination. The audio is good. The fidelity is good. I don't hear a lot of room noise. You still have the forward movement on the S-meter. So that is a good position for everything on the Lafayette Comstat 35 over.
I wish I knew what kind of microphone this thing was. It's a little bitty thing. I don't know, but it says it's made in Japan. It's got some numbers, like I said, and that's it. But anyway, this radio was manufactured about 1975, and it was made in Korea for Panasonic. So it has 11 tubes, 23 crystal control channels. It's got a blank space in there for an extra channel to go. And the radio's in SAMS number 72. The radio has all the normal controls, range boost. I was using a static D104. That's not using that anymore. It wouldn't function. I had one of those days. Anyway, it's a great case on the thing. Bottom of brushed aluminum. Very nice looking radio. I don't know whether this is one of the ones that's kind of like all the rest of them on the Comstats, and not the Comstat, but everything trying to get over to look at the radios. Anyway, this microphone fits a slugger man there. So they must have been the same one they run through with Panasonic. Back to you.
Might be. I have the picture I'm showing has got some type of a plug cord on top, which is not the microphone. Occasionally, you will get a little bit of I'll call it static. It's almost like a bad connection going on with the audio, but it doesn't affect your signal. So I'm not sure if because you're moving the microphone around or something, it has something to do with the connector. But occasionally it's getting that, but it's never completely dropped out. Like you said, made in Korea by Panasonic or for Panasonic, 11 tubes, 12AX7 and the 12ET7. I guess the similar tube complement to like the Robin T123B, and in 1975, there's probably a very rare radio because in the next year, all the 23-channel radios ceased production as they had to go to 40 channels. So I'm thinking they probably didn't produce too many of those 35s before they had to go to a 40 channel something. You are radio number 4. I don't hear too many of the 35s, but it's up and running and sounding good. Over.
Okay, I kicked it back down to the lower setting on the thing. Maybe that cleared it up, I hope. If not, probably got something wrong with the cable on the thing. It's not throwing it like it should be throwing up, but it is. It's doing all right, watching the meter on the thing. Yeah, anyway, this thing fits a lot of the Robins and everything. This microphone fits a whole slug of them. So actually, it was my spare mic that would work on everything. So if I get the original mic going, maybe we can get that, whatever the problem was, straightened up. Thanks, Dennis, for checking it in.
All right, thanks for bringing it by. Yeah, that cleared up the audio issue, and I hear you fine. I'm going to say keep the switch handy if you're talking to somebody and they say, I'm having a little bit of problem. That would be a good, easy way to probably give your audio enough boost to make it through noise. And what did we used to say? The hash and trash. Radio number 4, I'll call rare Comstat 35 from Lafayette. And Inky Dog saying that if you pay $80 for an antenna and you have it 40-something years, well, that's less than $2 a year, which is not too bad. Not too bad for an antenna rental. And just think of it this way, as we should say in the advertising business, why, that's only pennies a QSO. So that's a good selling point. Let's head over. Oh, I'm going to do the Jingle Singers. While we're doing that, Jerry, step up into the air chair, and we will catch you for Radio 5 here on the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
The station for you, OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network, here in Central California on 27085 Channel 11, our frequency of choice. And for the last 35 years, doing what you've been listening to or watching here for on Saturday evenings, creating a forum for those with the classic tube radios to stop by, take a transmission, talk about their radios, give us information, maybe do a radio check, whatever. It's a nice way to get on the air and take a break from whatever you are doing. And I'm glad to be part of this for so long. Let's beacon over to Madera Heights. Hello, Jerry, over.
Hello, Dennis. 25 checking in on the General Radio Telephone MC5. I think it's about a 4 or 5 channel transmit. It's got the big old handlebars on the front of it. Anyway, it's been kind of a project in the works, and we got her back on the air thanks to a lot of friends and a lot of work. And anyway, I'd like to check it in, Dennis. Back to you.
You have come to the right place for checking something in, because I have all the checking in paraphernalia in front of me here. We'll call that 932 Radio 5. Apropos, as we check in the MC5, Master Control 5 in the line of radios produced by the company out of beautiful downtown Burbank, the General Radio Telephone manufacturers. This one hit the market late 1962 and was a big seller for them all throughout 1963. There are quite a few. It seems as though when we get a General Radio Telephone, the chances that it might be an MC5 are pretty good. There are a lot of them out here on the West Coast. I heard the guys talking about on the East Coast that these are kind of unobtainium, but here on the West Coast they abound, and we're glad. Back to you.
Yeah, Dennis. Anyway, I actually have the mounting bracket if you want to mount it in a mobile. I don't know where you mount it in the cars nowadays, but back in the day, we had the Buick Rivieras and the Electra 225s and the big old Thunderbirds. You had all kinds of room to mount these radios, but as a mobile. But I have no idea how you do it nowadays. But anyway, thanks, Dennis. Yeah, the MC5. I am talking on a Turner Plus 3B powered mic, and I realize that this radio probably doesn't need it, but it's the only thing I have wired up for it as we speak. So that's what it is. Anyway, thanks for checking it in, Dennis.
Hey, thanks for bringing it by. Radio number 5, the General Radio Telephone MC5. Had a real nice ceramic chrome-plated Electro-Voice microphone. If you use the original one, that's what we're showing, and the one you have is making the audio work pretty good for what it is. Back in 1962, there were still some of the 6-volt auto systems around, and so this radio was equipped to do that. A lot of 6-volt tubes in there. In fact, 7 of them, 6BQ5, 6EM5, 6E88, a couple of those, 6B86, a couple of those, and a 6BS6. There is a schematic for that radio, looks like available over at oldtuberadio.com. It had a crystal control transmit and receive. Was that 5 channels, and then a one you could plug in from the outside so you wouldn't have to take the cabinet off, or you could go to the VFO and have all 23 channels on the receiver, a way to save some money. You wouldn't have to load the thing up with crystals to get people, early CB days, get people to jump in and get their feet wet and buy your product. Wanted to check in SWL 78. Rich is listening in from Southern California, Lake Elsinore, saying that he's running a Stereo 2016. I think SWL 7, I think Ed is running one of those. I was looking at that. I have a big cedar tree in the front, and I need something that's like an IMAX or a big stick that doesn't have radials. So if you stick it up in the limb, you don't have to worry about things jumping into your branches. But I saw the 2016. I think that's the one that has a little short, and I don't know what good they do. I want to say the multiple short radials. Is that the 2016? I don't know if that would be good. I should probably get one and then put it up on the pole where the Starduster is and see if anybody hears me better, if I hear better, if there's any difference that way before I try and put it up somewhere. But the 2016, the Stereo 2016 is on my list of possible possible antennas to get depending on where it is that I'm going to mount them. The Old Tube Radio Network, we are listening for radio number 6.
45.
And hello, 45, jump on up. You'll be radio number 6, over.
I don't think I heard Jerry's tone on that thing. Maybe I'll step out for a minute.
You know, we gave the tone a break tonight. We did not, I guess we should have. There's probably fans of the general radio telephones that actually had the call signal, the Q-Bird, that would like to hear it, but I didn't call for it tonight, so and that's the reason you didn't hear it. But if he's out there and maybe after the transmission wants to beacon with that would be certainly acceptable. But you have radio 6, and unless it's an MC5, it may not have a tone, over. See?
That's it.
All right, people all over are breathing a sigh of relief. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. Good, Jerry. Anyway, I'd like to check in my no-name radio. It's listed as an unknown radio.
All right, the no-name radio. It's like the masked SWL. Do you have to wear a paper bag over your head when you make a transmission?
Yeah, kind of like. I don't know this whole thing. It's you got a picture of it. You see it. Got that number on it. KOA 7170. Sure like to find out who built this thing. Back to you.
Let me get a bigger picture if you're someone watching the video. All right. Called the no-name radio. It does look sort of homebrew. Looks like they penciled their call letters on the front and marked, wasn't any silkscreen, but marked the controls. Hats off to you, Paul, for figuring out what controls do what. And is one of those a channel selector, I wonder? There's a speaker in the front. Take another transmission. This is interesting.
Okay. Well, it's a 10-tuber and this little bitty case. You can see it there. It's got a microphone made by Turner, 350 high Z, ceramic mic on the thing. Came with it. So the thing is, it's definitely got to be a VS Mobile video. Don't have any things you can tie it into the car with. I don't know. The guy built it did a heck of a job in it. Put 10 tubes in this little bitty thing. But it looks like you're doing the job on the meter. That's the main thing. Well, I'll be glad to hear the archives tonight with all my troubles. Appreciate it. Anyway, front power speaker, no meter, no lights, nothing else. And that is the radio, so 10 tube, 1 channel radio. Back to you.
1 channel, stuck in there, don't have to worry about where you're at. So I wonder if it came originally with 11 or if you had to go in there and find the right size crystal and plug it in. I'm looking at the call. I don't know if it's KDA or KOA. You know, I think it was S9 Magazine for a long time used to have in their monthly columns the latest call letters and where they were from and maybe who they were issued to. I should take some hours and hours and hours and see if I can find the back issues of those, which a lot of them are online, and see if we can't come up with KOA or KDA 7170. Find out who that was, if they're still around, and we have your radio. Tell us about it. Sounding good. I will do a frequency check on your next transmission, see how that crystal is holding up, but it's got a good sound, good flavor, and perhaps the only one like it here on your Old Tube Radio Network. Back to you.
Yeah, I don't think there's been another one like it. You see the inside. Really good mechanic. Like I say, it should be pretty close to being on frequency, I believe, from what you're showing.
Not bad. 84.4. 84.5, so 500 cycles low, well within the 700 that I think the FCC allowed for the radios. Audio is good on frequency. The such that it is, the one frequency that it has. And the unknown radio is still lives here on OTR.
I'm glad to check it in. Someday somebody's going to find out, I hope. If it'd be sure be neat to see the guy. I don't know if he'd be alive or not, probably not. But you never know. Thanks, Dennis, for checking it in.
Thanks for bringing it by radio number 6. We call it the no-name, unknown radio. We have some one-of-a-kind radios. I think, was it Steve Unicorn used to check in with the bullet hole special, and I think Eric had another one that looked like it had been shot with a bullet. Timtron North. I think maybe Timtron West is also listening, GNJ. And Timtron North, Mr. TIM, saying hello to Net Control here and the net listening on 27085. He's probably got, I think it's a 991 listening in. Tim, you're my hero. I saw your latest video with doing the CW. Kicking along pretty good. I used to be at that speed or better, but I just stopped doing, well, I stopped radio altogether, but I stopped doing CW. But I remember the novice days with my J38 key, which is here. Can you see that? Probably not. It's here on the table behind all the stuff. And this is my, yeah, there it is. There's my J38 key. I liked your modern paddle there. I don't know if my right brain, left brain can do the dit dash dot it. But it was encouraging. I just have to listen. The thing I have to do before I get on the air, I would have to probably listen for hours and hours and get my CW brain back, because the transmitting is not, the sending is not that bad. It's the listening. But I remember 40-meter novice band, and when I had my novice ticket, and you're trying to get just some contacts whenever. I was usually really early in the morning because I had a job. I had to be there at 5 in the morning, so I'd get up early, and it seemed like I was always talking with these hams that were, W6 and just these really old calls, and I'm thinking, why are these guys, they could be anywhere they want. Why are they hanging out in the novice band? And then, at some of the ham festival, I talked to one guy, and he says, oh yeah, we like that. We like hanging down on the novice band, and it's an easy contact, and, we don't have to worry about going fast, and it's really important to, give the novices contacts and boost up their speed. So I always thought that was pretty cool. I thought, I like ham radio. That's why I like ham radio. You've got a lot of good operators in there that are encouraging you to do better, and that's what we do here at OTR. Encourage you to do better. Do better. If you don't have a license, get one. And then like myself and Tim, you will find out. You think, I'm never going to do code, right? And you don't even need the code anymore. And then it's like a foreign language. You get to know enough words to be dangerous, and then you venture out. Donde está la baño? Oh, hey, they point the right way. It says, I am talking Spanish, right? So the same way with the CW. You get in there and you go, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and you think, and then someone comes back to you. It's like, hey, I'm doing it. Someone can understand what I'm doing. So there is all sorts of aspects in the amateur radio hobby, CW included. If it's with a fancy thing like Tim's got, or the old J38 key, or you can even do it. You can even take 2 pieces of wire and do it that way. If you are stuck on Gilligan's Island and the professor makes you a CW, makes you a transmitter, you can take those 2 pieces of wire, and if you know the code, you can save yourself and Gilligan too. The Old Tube Radio Network, looking for Radio 7.
Quickie?
Yeah, go ahead, Quickie, over.
Yeah, Dennis, this is the same radio, same microphonium, number 84 over here, a new battery in the microphone. Does that help?
Oh, yeah, that makes a big difference, and I think you can probably, let's work on the audio. You can probably turn it down a little bit now.
Okay, well, when I get over here like this, I like it to about 3/4 of an arm's length, so I can sit in the recliner here and, be lazy. So is that a little bit better right there?
That's good for the fidelity. There's still a lot of what I call base tip up. Looks good on the meter. You're moving the meter the right direction. So I would say you probably could help the fidelity out by going down just a little bit. And if you had a noisy room, which you don't, that would also be a plus.
All righty. A little bit further away, almost an arm's length now. Roger.
Okay, that helps the frequency response on the bass notes, and I think you're okay. I'm not picking up too much room noise. You might not have a room that's too live. So my suggestion would be you're doing good. It'll work that way. But if you have some noise in the room, or a bozo control is in the back working with the Hoover vacuum cleaner, you might need to adjust things. But I think you got it.
Alrighty, well, we cranked it down just a tad bit more there. It's about a quarter of the way up from totally off there. Roger.
Okay, you're good. And then if you want to move back up or get in a comfortable position, you can. That microphone seems to be pretty sensitive on frequency response. So I think you're good. Yeah, the other one was it was just lacking. It seems like you had to work too hard to get the audio. Now you can relax.
I like that word, relax. Boy, that's about one of 3 words that, as you get older in life, that you really start to enjoy. One of them is quiet. When you have a house full of kids and grandkids half the time, I like that word, quiet. And another one, I like that word, easy. The easier, the better. All right, Dennis, thank you. Number 84.
All right, good deal. That's another reason OTR is here, for radio checks and checking microphones. And see, all this has recorded. So Jerry can, at his leisure, when he is relaxed, go back to oldtuberadio.net, click on the archive button at the top of the page, wait for the OTR magnetophone to load all those little 3-inch reel-to-reel tapes, click on the date that has, it says March 21st, tube radio check-ins, and scroll through on his audio player of choice and hear his audio and give himself his own radio check, or he can watch the video replay and do the same thing. The Old Tube Radio Network looking for Radio 7, but first, I think the Jingle singers want to tell us about that friendly place to be on Saturday evenings.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
Hey, you know, Dennis, I wonder about something if I start needing some more tubes and to check tubes. Maybe I can ride my bicycle down there to Thrifty's and use their tube tester right there on the floor.
Yeah, if you get the right one, you might find 2 tube testers. I remember some of the places actually had 2. When I worked at the, it was like a Target store, but it was called something else. They still had a tube checker. This had been in high school, or just out of high school. That'd be 1974. And they found out, I can't remember what department I was working in, automotive or hardware or something. They found out I knew a little bit about tubes, so I was the guy. They gave me the key, because there was that door on the bottom where they kept the tubes, and they never had the tube the person wanted. But I was the person that was called out when they were fiddling with the thing and wanted help with, setting the controls and looking at the chart. You had to look at the chart and find the tube number and know where to set the filament, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, go to Thrifty, and when you're done, pat yourself on the back and go get one of their 5-cent ice cream cones.
Oh man, doesn't that bring back memories for sure. Well, the mountain maid over here, she was born and raised in shoot. Well, it was down there somewhere. And I'll ask her. I can't remember where she was born. Anyways, down south there. And I'll ask her if she knew, some of those department stores, like Target. I know they had several of them around here, White Front, and a couple other ones out there like that. But I'm going to ask her if she knows any of those down there.
This one is now a Target. It's the same building, is now a Target. But before that, it was, I think it was called Two Guys. And before that, it was called Disco Fair. I probably got an old album, probably like an old Donovan album or something that's got the plastic that says Disco Fair on it. But it was Two Guys. That was a good summer job. I think it was. I think it was $2 an hour, right? So if you worked 40 hours a week, you came home with that, after taxes, like $68 paycheck, and you put the money away to pay for your books for college or whatever. The Old Tube Radio Network is listening, counting and mounting for your tube radios. Radio 7 is the next one to come up. And like the streets of just about any town USA, here in the last couple of days, the frequency is quiet. Even the static is not too bad. So people are sheltering in place, enjoying evenings with the family, whatever they're doing, kind of reconnoitering, doing it a little bit differently, I suppose. But everybody pat yourself on the back for making it through kind of a trying week, as things obviously will get better as everybody adjusts to, I don't even want to call it the new normal, but the way things are for the time being. Looking for radio number 7.
Are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
And Richard, thanks for the info on the Serio 2016. I am definitely looking at that as a possible item here. Be something to check out. OTR, getting ready to count an amount. We won't stay out here too late tonight because I know everybody is kind of winding down from the week, but still have plenty of room in the SWL list to get checked in and looking for Radio 7.
Oh, my God. Only Radio 7, that's bad. But how about Radio 7 at 9:57 Pacific time?
Let me find my list, because I do think, let me do something here, all right. Boost the audio. I'm going to do something here. 1, 2. All right, sorry about that as we blow up the stuff here. I would like Radio 7. What have you got?
Well, from the Radio Lounge, we have a Robin 123 with a magic eye and some delightful blue labeling tape on the top of it, just about where the antenna coax that goes into it. I've got something that someone would at least 50 years ago typed in that said upper on the left side and lower on the right side of the top of the radio, indicating that I may have some, I shouldn't admit to that over the air. I don't want an FCC van to pull up in front of my house. I don't know. This radio may have other capabilities I'm not aware of, but at least it's working at 27085 or somewhere around there.
Certainly. Yeah, my audio is, I'm looking at the OR band meter. You are at minus 16 where I should be, and I'm at going down to minus, wow, way the heck down. So, did you say you were on the 123? Because that's the 123 is the one that I pulled up here for the picture.
Yeah, 123. There's no Bravo after that one. This is the one with the magic eye tube. And I did, even after I've had the other one offline for quite some time, I still get the magic eye tubes confused. This one's got the 6RE13, I believe it is. Please correct me if I'm wrong. This is the vertically mounted magic eye tube. You yap into it. A bar illuminates from the top like a stalactite. Another bar illuminates from the bottom like a stalagmite, and indicates just how much audio you're putting into the microphone.
And it's putting audio quite well. All right, now we're back. Your stalactite and stalagmite frequency. One of the few radios that have the magic eye tubes, probably one of the later radios. They were seen a lot in the early 60s, late 50s, early 60s radios. And then this particular one using the 6RE13 style, where you're looking not down at the top of the tube, but into the front of the tube. Very helpful, very, very mesmerizing. Normally you kind of fix your eyes on the S meter, but this one actually, it probably makes you do all sorts of little things, going ooh-wah-ee, to make those lights move together.
Oh yeah, definitely. And oh boy, you're taking me way back. I've talked about this particular tube and the 6ME5. I think it's a 6ME5 on my Gonzit, which has been offline for quite some time. But I haven't done this I'm not kidding, years and years and years. But if you Google magic eye tube, there are a bunch out there. There are ones like this. They're vertically mounted. You look in the side. There are ones like this. A lot of examples of the other one, the Pac-Man style magic eye tube that illuminates. I guess you're looking at the top of it. And then there were quite a few other ones that were illuminating like, almost like peacock feathers. It's just is pretty amazing. I haven't looked at those things again in a long, long, long time. But, oh boy, now at 10 or 2 at night, and I'm feeling the need to spend way too much time looking on online about magic eye tubes.
Well, I did as you were talking. There is the one that is in Mike's radio, the 6RE13. There's the whole tube, the socket, and you can see what they did is they mount that right in the front of the radio, and then they take and your panel and cut out the appropriate slot so that you can see the stuff moving, and looks pretty cool. So. Not sure of the circuit. This one's on a audio board. I suppose you could make a little project and do them for any audio. And obviously it's voltage, whatever, because some of the radios had them for signal, for tuning. I've got an old Zenith radio that uses it for tuning in the signal. So when it was at the best, your incoming reception was the best, then the two lights would go together. And if you want to see the other style, go to oldtuberadio.net, and in the top of the page it says audio controls. You can click on that little button there that is actually moving is the other style, called the Pac-Man style, I guess, of Magic Eye Tube. Radio 7 is doing good from this is their pre-1972, Robin, and your audio is great. That before they had the range boost. It sounds excellent, so don't touch a thing.
Oh, good. No, I won't. And boy, you're really fanning the flames of Magic Eye Tubes. How many different pieces of electronics do you own that actually do have Magic Eye Tubes in there?
That is a good question. I have my Gonset communicator, which has one. The Zenith big radio out in the other room has one. Reel-to-reel tape recorder has one for the audio. And there's probably others. I don't think I have any CB radios that have them. In fact, I'm positive I don't. The Gonset that I have is a G76, and it doesn't have one. That's the HF radio. But the 2-meter radio does. So, I don't know. There's a few around here. And unfortunately, I don't have anything like that in the audio rack. Otherwise, I could have a camera just up for that.
Okay, let me clarify. You didn't say you had a 2-meter radio with the Magic Eye Tube?
Yeah, the Gonset communicator series, the one that has the 2-meter and the 10-meter and the 6-meter, those items do indeed have the Magic Eye Tube in them.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. I'm going to spend some time looking at that online. And question number 2: which Zenith radio do you have that's got the Magic Eye Tube in there?
It is a floor console model, and I've been looking at some of the Zenith sites, and I need to get the serial number, and then from that you can tell exactly what it is. Exactly. I'm going to say it's probably pre-1950s, so between 1945 and 1950. It's got the record changer, and it has the shutter dial on it. Anybody who knows Zenith radios would know what the shutter dial is, and it's got the shortwave band and the AM band, and I don't even know if it has the old FM band in it or not. It is currently not working because it's got a lot of octal tubes that have to. It did work at one time long ago, but it's 5 feet high and 3 feet wide, and it's got the doors where you store your 78 records in it, and it's a nice looking piece of furniture anyway.
Oh boy. Okay, now you're really going to cause me to spend some time on eBay. So, the shutter dial, for anyone that's still listening, that shutter dial on the Zenith radios, those are just awesome. And I've spent quite a bit of time looking on the eBay for the 12-tube Zenith radios with the robot dial or whatever. If again, you go on eBay or YouTube, even better, you'll see what I'm talking about. Those are just spectacular looking radios. Oh boy. All right. Well, this one doesn't. This one I'm speaking on right now doesn't have any robot dial or a magic eye tube. It's the 123 Bravo, which just pales in comparison to everything else I just mentioned.
But it is your radio and transmitting okay on the old Tube Radio Network. I thought you might have changed radios because I was going to make a note that your audio was a tad different, still good. So we'll flop the picture up to the big green machine. Their Robin's clone of the Panasonic chassis. I believe that even has plate modulation. I think the Robin was, out of all the ones they had, seemed to be the fancier issue with little gigas and things on the front panel. And of course, it sounds nice the way you're running it, with however you're doing it. Over.
Oh, good. This has a non-amplified, what I guess, I'm assuming, and of course, assumptions are dangerous these days. But I'm assuming it's the original microphone that came with it. It's an unamplified Robin mic. It's got a picture of a Robin in front of the mic. What's on the back here? Yeah, it just says T123B Japan. So I don't know who actually manufactured the mic, but it's unamplified. And no, I don't like using it at 10:09. Is the last radio I'm going to check in because you got to scream into it, and I'm too tired to do that at this point in time.
No need necessary. I'm hearing you just fine. And Robin did have a desk microphone that was, I think we're showing on the T123B, Cliff had it in his picture. It's called an MT1. Probably not too easy to find, but they did make a bass microphone. I don't know if it was amplified or not. This is an 11-tube radio, operator's manual and schematic at oldtuberadio.com. 6-volt tubes except for the 12AX7 and the modulator 12AT7. So that's why the audio has the potential of being good, plus the range expands. So you probably, if it's tuned up properly or adjusted properly, don't need amplification on the microphonium. And that is our second one of the evening, believe it or not. Sounding good here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for bringing by Radio 7 and 8. Over.
Okay, thank you. I got to ask before I sign out, someone else checked in another 123 Bravo. Who was that?
That was Jerry, Cheerios Kid, out in Clovis. Hadn't been on in a while. I want to say, checked in his radio. That was probably belongs to the Mountain Maid, but is sitting in a proximity of the Radio Shack. And he put in, we were testing the audio on that, and he ended up changing the battery in his microphone, and that made quite a bit of difference. Those radios have good fidelity, so they will handle a lot of audio going through the front end.
Got it. Okay. Well, it's nice to know that someone else has a Robin. I'm always partial to these since it was the first radio in my collection. Okay, I've taken up too much time on that. I'll send it back to you, 73. Thanks, sir. Everyone sounds great, and have a great evening.
Indeed, yeah. This one is a little less. I'm looking at the LKFS meter on the Orban here, and the other one was about a -16. The higher the number, the more loudness it is per se, and this one is at about a -20. Not bad at all. 11 after 10. Jingle singers are ready to do their thing. We'll do some counting and amounting, and if indeed you do have a radio warmed up, we will take it. Otherwise, we will be getting ready to sign out here and kind of stepping back from this kind of intense week that we've all been having.
You're tuned to
OTR, Channel 11,
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
And be modern.
And also say hello and I guess good evening to our station still beaconing in at oldtuberadio.net. On the digital side, if you are just out of the range here, Central California, and you never know when Cycle 25 will pop in and you'll hear us jumping in. Stations till in the wee hours of Sunday morning from New York. Hello to you. A couple of San Francisco stations. That could be X4000 and Timtron West. I hope you are all doing well. If you're listening, Tim, I think Rich has got the new router routed and beaconing and all the bugs worked out of it. So I think that is working back. We got our email back. Somerville, South Carolina still in. UK. Let's see, where is that? Chorley is what it says. Where it is partly cloudy and 36 degrees. Quick facts. Chorley. I may be pronouncing that wrong. Chorley is a town in Lancashire, 8.1 miles north of Wigan. And the town's wealth came principally from the cotton industry, according to Wikipedia. Hello to Minnesota, Anoka, Boonesboro, Maryland. Some more stations in California. Hendersonville, Tennessee, and with us tonight, as usual, SWL 31. Sun City, California, Germantown, Wisconsin. Listening in. Who is that? I wonder if that's 49 and some. Chico. I've got stories. I've got stories about Chico, but I won't. I won't tell them here. Used to go up there and do some video production for Rolf Auerbach and KHSL. I don't even know what their call letters are now. And Boulder Creek. Where's Boulder Creek, California? Hello to you, listening to the Old Tube Radio Network. Standing by, and anybody you'd like to check in, we've got another minute.
Oh, for heaven's sakes. All right. Just, if you don't mind, sneak in a Browning R27S23, please.
Absolutely. There is one of our longtime old tube radio troopers on the R27S23, which is good for a couple of reasons. That is the first Eagle. We had the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III earlier. Let me see if I've got whatever. Okay, I do have a picture. Let me switch over here. Showing three pieces. He's on the two pieces, the transmitter and the receiver. He does not have the business band amplifier, but doesn't really need it. The Eagle, the first one, it should have an Eagle somewhere on it. Where did they have the Eagle? 1964 to 1966, $359 for that. You know, with this one, oh, there it is. It's on the transmitter. It's not the big applique like on the Mark III, but it's a little silhouette of the Eagle next to the channel selector. Give us another transmission.
Okay, yeah, you're right. It's a rather small painted Eagle that's right in between the transmit channel frequency selector dial and the on the air lamp. I haven't really paid attention to the lamp in a long time. I gotta say, man, it looks great. Someone spent some time thinking about that. It's kind of a vertically mounted window. The on the air, the font on the writing is kind of sloping. Each word is on top of the other, sloping downwards to the right. It's huge, and man, looks great.
In our picture, it is illuminated, but it's overexposed, so it's this sort of rectangular window that looks like you're peering into the radio at this glowing tube, and that is the on-the-air light for the transmitter. There's an advertisement. What if I click on that? What happens? There it is. World's finest CB base station. guess I could say that in their advertisement. The Browning Eagle is the most modern base station you can buy. It has all the latest features you've been looking for, and it delivers that famous Browning base station performance. If you want the base station that's the talk of CB airwaves, you want the new Browning Eagle. The undisputed mark of excellence in CB radio. Okay, with a plug like that, back to you.
Undisputed mark of excellence. That's pretty good. I don't often have that term used anywhere in my vicinity. I will say I'm glad it's actually working. I'm glad you're hearing me. I'm glad that I'm hearing you. I had to disconnect it in order to use this antenna that I'm transmitting on another frequency that I think, when was that? Wednesday night on another frequency. But it was great to hear everyone back then, as it is now on 27085 or somewhere around there.
Yes, 27085, 28445 was the Wednesday frequency. If you're on sideband, they do have a CW portion of that net, which I've not checked into. So now that I've watched Timtron's video, Timtron in the Northwest, then maybe I'll get brave on the J38 key and chalk in a CW check-in. All right, I think I should probably, at 19 after, sign out. The Jingle Singers are ready to do what they do best. Thanks for bringing by the R27 S23 from Browning.
Thank you. 73. Everyone sounds great. Certainly glad that we're still out here using these wonderful toys, hobbies, whatever, apparatuses. What a joy it is to still have them on the air. Thank you. 73.
And who will be the most heard manufacturer tonight? Will it be the General Radio Telephones? Will it be the Brownings from Laconia, New Hampshire? Beautiful downtown Burbank? Or will it be the Robins? Stay tuned to find out who your Old Tube Radio Network, the Jingle Singers, doing what they do best.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us
Old Tube Radio.
and be modern.
And Mitch, thanks for the update. You've been found, right? In Boulder Creek in the Santa Cruz Mountains. Off of, what is it? Is it 17? I've driven the White Knuckle Drive on 17 a few times. And then Highway 9, camping up there by, what is the campground there? I don't know. Out of Felton. Big Basin, is that it? I don't know. It's a really nice area. I really like that area. I remember the 17, just kind of like, oh. Don't be in a big fat Buick like I was. You need a small cart. And let's see, what else? Oh, you know what? I won't take a whole bunch of time here since it's late, but Big Rich wondering, curious, what's the story on the Jingle Singers? All right, here's the rumor. As you know, they are live in the other room, but rumor has it that a long, long time ago, in the infancy of the old Tube Radio Network, someone that worked in a local radio station, AM radio station here, found some, what do we call it, transcriptions, some discs in a back room that were going to be tossed out, you know, when things were, you know, in the 1980s, when you're cleaning up all the stuff from the 1960s. And these transcriptions probably looked and sounded a lot like our Jingle Singers that had, of course, the little ditty, and then the space for your local announcer to talk about your local station. And that Mr. Announcer cut some of those jingles and carted them up. We used to have a little cart machine player here long ago and said, hey, this might work for your thing that you're doing. And when we started doing that, and we said, this is really cool. Let's get those discs. And he went back and they were gone. So this may be the only place that the Jingle Singers exist. Who knows? Maybe someone's mother or father or grandfather or grandmother was one of the, I don't know where they were recorded, what they came from, but maybe they were one of the Jingle Singers and have a story to tell us. But that's the story of the Jingle Singers, and we're sticking to it. So, let me unkey and see if there's any other thing.
Dennis, before we get out of here, I got a text from 1017, the other Dennis. He's doing well. He's remodeling the house, so he has all the equipment covered up, so he doesn't get any dust on it.
Dust can be a bad thing. Let me get 1017 checked in on a proxy. And if you're listening in at oldtuberadio.net, or maybe you've got, you know what I used to do when the radios aren't, you take the clip lead out of that center SO239 and you clip your way to the window screen or the lamp or whatever, so you can hear things. But maybe you're listening at oldtuberadio.net. We will get 77 checked in, which changes my totals by one. Speaking of totals, thanks for that update. Let me. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR totals.
The current and final totals. We did well on SWLs tonight. I thought we might. I thought there might be a lot of stations sort of listening in tonight as they shelter in place or whatever it is that we're supposed to be doing. 66 SWLs. That's the ones that checked in. There were many of you beaconing, listening at oldtuberadio.net on the video side. And we appreciate that and hope that you perhaps do something like this in the area you are at, or that you have indeed beaconed a transmission or two on your old tube radio wherever you are this week. And the California curfew, what is that? The California curfew is in effect. So that a 10 o'clock thing, I'm going to have to study my new rules and regulations here so I don't get in trouble and do something I shouldn't here in the Golden State. 13 check-ins on page 1, 16 on page 2, 18 on page 5, and 19 on page 4 for a total of 66. And who was the most heard manufacturer tonight? Let me grab my list. Out of the nine radios that were gracious enough to tune in, it appears to be, drum roll please, the Robins. And that hasn't happened in a while. With 3. We had 2 general radio telephones and a couple of Brownings and some other stuff thrown in for good measure. So let's see. General radio telephone BB30 started the night off, the elusive 1965 business band Browning. Probably an MC something we'll get it by the FCC and put in a 25-watt tube. As long as we get that 27420 crystal in there, it'll get type accepted. Thanks, Paul, for that. Radio number 2, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB from Jerry, Mr. Sidekick, and then Jerry, Mr. Cheerios Kit, the Robin T123B. Thanks to the Mountain Maid for letting us work on that one. And the new battery is the Magic, sounding good. You can check it out on the archives. Paul, with the Lafayette Comstat 35, a rare radio indeed for Radio 4. Radio 5, SWL 25 on the General Radio Telephone MC5. Thanks for the ex post facto Q-Bird, for those who are listening. The Unknown Radio, someone put that together, KOA 7276 something. I should write that down. We're going to find out who that is someday. Paul for Radio 6 also. And then the Triple Play with Radio 7, 8, and 9, the Robin T123, the Robin T123B. That's the one that put them over the top. And the Browning Eagle from 1964-65. That was a good year. It seems like a lot of radios were checked in from about that time. Tonight, the R27 S23. I hope everybody is weathering what is going on in the country without too much issue. I hope you're all staying safe and well and doing what you need to do that. And taking a deep breath. Remember we talked about the Jack LaLanne thing? Taking that deep breath. And if you do have to stand in line somewhere, you can social distance with your neighbors from 6 feet away. The Old Tube Radio Network, thanks to SearchLawrence.com and Frodex for the Nixie tubes, and thanks to all of you for keeping us going. I hope we are providing some sort of an interesting service here for the radios and the radio operators and the SWLs. Good night, everybody, from OTR, Central California. And we will catch you next week, hopefully, with your tube radios.
Thanks, Dennis, and good night.
All right, sounding good, and I will be stealthy so I don't mess up the curfew.
I don't think the curfew applies to this.
All right, I wasn't aware. The rules change so quickly around here.
What the previous guy say? Whiners?
No, for minors.
Delightful.
I should say for the millennials.
Well, yeah. I've never expended too much energy trying to be politically correct, so you're safe.
All right, good night, everybody. Made it through another one without smoke and fireworks, and everything kind of worked. We'll catch you next time, the Old Tube Radio Network.
Good night, John Boy.